right now, there's 900,000 unfilled trades jobs across the United States. We've been telling people in high school, if you don't go to college, you're not going to amount to anything. Mm-hmm. And to be serious, to me, that is such a joke. And I feel sorry for the people being told that.
Welcome to Find Your Path, where we help job seekers understand potential careers that they may not have considered before. Today, we're discussing the overlooked trades, and specifically, we're looking at plumbing. Today's guest is Roger Wakefield, a master plumber with over 40 years of experience. He's also created one of the most popular and engaging YouTube channels in plumbing with over 330,000 subscribers and growing pretty fast. First off, let's establish your credentials, Roger. People who watch this will want to learn more about being a plumber. Besides the signature mustache, what makes you qualified to give that insight?
Well, I started in the trades in 1980 when I was 16 years old. And actually, I started before that on construction sites doing labor work. But I literally got into plumbing in 1980. So in the last 41 years, I've been an apprentice, a journeyman, foreman, superintendent, a master plumber. I have worked non-union and union. I've done residential and service. I've done residential and commercial. I've done service. I've done new construction. I've done industrial. I've done hospitals. I have done all aspects of the construction and plumbing trade. Okay. I have the Texas Master License, every master endorsement. I'm a lead AP. I'm Green Plumbers USA certified. I love studying and learning about plumbing.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, it definitely sounds that you're very qualified. What made you decide to get into it to begin with? It takes back to 80 and share that kind of career thought.
At the age of 16, I was managing a fast food place and had one of my best friends working with me. He actually told me about his father and his three older brothers that were plumbers. And it was funny because he asked me one night, he said, "Look, are you going to do this forever?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm 16 years old. I'm managing a restaurant. Life is good." And he says, "So what happens if you quit or if you get fired?" Well, it wasn't very much longer after that. I either quit or got fired. But I ended up calling one of his brothers and asking him if he could help me get a job in plumbing. And he did. And man, I loved it. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay. You've made it kind of a passion of yours to encourage others to join the profession. Can you talk about your personal interest in this mission?
My personal interest is I see how hard it is for me as a plumbing company owner to get people into the trades. I network with plumbers, roofers, electricians, HVAC techs, all kinds of people all across the United States. And this is not just a problem I'm having. It's a problem we have across the United States. Right now, there's 900,000 unfilled trades jobs across the United States. Oh, wow. So I have made it my mission and goal to help bring 2.5 million people either into the trades, help them get better at the trades, help them start their own company, or help them learn to do what I'm doing. Use social media to grow your business.
Okay. So let's talk about people then who have that interest. What are the educational requirements? What is the barrier for entry to get into the trade, specifically into plumbing?
Normally, the barrier to entry is our mental mindset. We've been telling people in high school, if you don't go to college, you're not going to amount to anything. Mm-hmm. And to be serious, to me, that is such a joke. And I feel sorry for the people being told that. I can show you many tradespeople that are millionaires, multimillionaires. I can show you hundreds of thousands that make $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And the neat thing is, and if you look at the world we live in, it is built and repaired by tradespeople. They build the buildings, they build the houses, they build the apartments, they build whatever it is. But those are also the people that are called back to make those repairs. Mm-hmm. And there really is no barrier to entry other than people hadn't been told how. We tell them what they need to do to get ready to go to college. It's funny because actually today's the day we're launching a course getting into the trades, and it teaches people not just how to get in, but it teaches them about the different trades. I don't want to teach them how to put pipe together.
Right.
I want to teach them how to take this opportunity that they have ahead of them and put themselves in a position to become a foreman, a superintendent, a project manager, a company owner. And that's what I'm working on, just to help get 2.5 million people into the trades and better at the trades. And it's not hard. It is really not hard to do. You've just got to get your mindset over the fact that people have been telling you for years that if you don't go to college, you're not going to amount to anything.
Right.
I've got 4 college graduates that work for me here at the plumbing company right now.
Okay. So you've talked a little bit about the kind of different paths you took throughout your career, the different roles you've had. Kind of, that's something that I don't think a lot of people are familiar with. Talk about the progression of a career, the different paths that exist, kind of what the apprenticeship programs look like, kind of what does that whole structure look like in your industry?
Well, I actually came up non-union. So that means I literally got a job for a plumbing company and learned from other plumbers. And that's called open shop.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. And to get into an open shop position, depending on if you want to do commercial or residential or service or new construction, first of all, people need to figure that out. And that's the thing that, we talk about on my YouTube channel. It's, what type plumber do you want to be? Now, the getting into the trades program we're doing is different because I talk about all the different trades and explain to them the goods, the bads about each one. The entry level, some of them you just need a high school diploma. Some of them you may need to get a professional license. So there may be hours, there may be an apprenticeship program. The opportunities out there, though, basically for anybody. I mean, seriously, if somebody called me right now and said, look, I live in this part of the world, I'd tell them who's advertising on the TV channels. If you want to do residential service, because normally that's where plumbers, electricians, and HVAC companies advertise. If they want to do commercial, drive downtown. Look who's got the tower crane up. Look who's building the biggest buildings. And go to the job site. Find out what mechanical contractor or what company that you'd be interested in going to work for, and knock on the door and ask them, say, look, I really do want to become an electrician. Can you tell me how to get started? Because it's different in different areas. And depending on whether they're open shop or union, but if they're union and they know the union's hiring, they may tell you, hey, go down to the apprentice training center, put in an application and tell them we sent you down there.
Yeah. So the demand's that strong right now that's a realistic approach that you could take and get your foot in the door.
It's a great way to do it. All the trades nationwide are literally looking for people. And me, I love hiring apprentices because I can put them with the journeyman that I have. That way I know they're trained the way I want them trained as they come up and as they get their tradesmen, they get their journeyman. So in some trades, it's different, but the plumbing license here in Texas, after 4,000 hours, you can get your tradesman license. That means you can do anything a plumber does on a residential or 2-family dwelling. Okay. Then after that is the journeyman license. Now you can work on multifamily, you can work on commercial, you can work on industrial, you can work on anything at the journeyman level. Okay. The only thing up after that is the master license. And you need that really to own your own company one day. But I recommend to all people getting in the trades, if there is a master certification, go for it. Get that knowledge. And the bad thing is, and this is one thing that I really push into the getting into the trades program is, and I mean, I want you to think about this. Most people, when they get into the trades, I wanted to become a plumber. Once I got my journeyman license, I stopped. I was good. I've got my journeyman license. Then I started realizing, wait, to become a foreman, to become a superintendent, to become a project manager, I eventually moved up to director of operations for a mechanical contractor here in Dallas. You can move up to whatever you want to move up to, including becoming an entrepreneur and own your own business.
So then the different steps within, so getting to journeyman and master, is it a number of hours in the industry plus some kind of certification program? What's that look like? What do you have to do to?
Now it's different in every state. You need to contact the AHJ, the authority having jurisdiction over whatever license or trade you're wanting to get into.
Okay.
And the way it is here in Texas, after 4,000 hours, you can become a tradesman.
Okay.
4,000 more hours, you can be a journeyman. And a lot of plumbers that work for commercial companies, they won't even go get their tradesman license. They'll just put in the 8,000 hours, become a journeyman, and that's got them on the path that they want to be on.
Gotcha.
If they go through a Department of Labor training program like the unions or PHCC, after they're a journeyman, they can get their master's license in 1 more year. If they haven't done that or haven't gone through a DOL training program, they've got to wait 4 more years to get their master license. So then it's really 16,000 hours to get your master's license.
Which translates 8 years plus or so, somewhere around there.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and is there a test or something like that at that master level you have to take as well?
There's a test at each level. They don't just say, okay, you've got 4,000 hours, you're a tradesman.
Right.
Here in Texas, you've got to take a written exam. You've got to take a practical exam.
Yeah.
It used to just be held in Austin at the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners, which I love that. That's like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
You go to Austin, you get a hotel room, you wake up the next morning, you take your exam. And I tell you what, Ryan, it's such a wonderful feeling because 4 years of hard work pay off right here. And you're tested on your knowledge, you're tested on your skills. And I've always loved that. Now they are working on right now the written test. They schedule times all around Texas where you can take it. And I believe that they're working to get the practical exam out where it can be tested locally too. Me, I'm an old school guy. I still think the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners, man, that's where I would go for every test.
Yeah.
And with me, with all my master endorsements, I've actually been down there a lot of times to take different tests. And it's always a wonderful feeling to know you walked in there and you accomplished something.
Yeah. So talk about compensation. What's realistic throughout the career? And I know it's all over the map with this type of job. You mentioned, people who are millionaires and tons of people who are making 6 figures. But what is the realistic compensation throughout, especially those first several years of your career?
You normally start out at 50% of journeyman wages. So, and the union sets the scales for the different areas of the country that they're in. But I look at my local union here, they're paying $34 an hour. So literally somebody could walk out of high school, go down there and apply and get accepted. And they're going to start out at $17 an hour, $34,000 a year. It's not a bad way to start right out of high school.
Yeah. While everybody else is racking up student debt. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. For the next 4 years, you're going to make between $200,000 and $300,000 while everyone else is going to school, paying for their education, paying student loans, doing whatever they do, or accruing student debt. So most students, when they go to college, will get out owing about $50,000, where in 4 years or 5 years, you're going to get out making $200,000 or $300,000. And then you're going to be making top dollar. Yeah. These people going to college, when they get out in 4 years, they're going to be walking into an entry-level position, and they're going to work their way up from there.
Yeah. And it's a pretty tough market right now for people coming out of college. I've got an older son who just graduated, and this is the wrong time to be graduating.
Yeah, sure. It's really funny you say that, but I wrote an article for LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, and it was a commencement speech from a plumber.
Yeah.
And I'm literally telling them now's the best time in the world to graduate.
Yeah.
There are so many open jobs and opportunities in the trades.
Yeah.
That, man, it is phenomenal.
So talk about the advantages of being part of an established company versus branching out on your own and becoming an entrepreneur. Obviously, there's greater upside compensation wise, but that's the path you decided to eventually take. And what are the advantages between kind of being in that established company versus branching out on your own?
Well, just like any business, if you have an opportunity to start your own company, you want to make sure that, number one, you're mentally prepared. You can go to school as an apprentice and get your journeyman, get your master's. And in Texas, they've waived the RMP, but it's still what it's considered. You have to apply for it. But the responsible master plumber for a company, if just like anything else, if you own your own company, you can make whatever you want to make. And a journeyman right now, a journeyman in a union will be making $72,000 a year. That's minimum. Because when I was in the union, when the union was paying $25 an hour scale, I was making 50. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have studied the trade. You've put yourself in a good position to progress. Meaning I started, even in the union, I came in as a journeyman. Then I moved up to a foreman, then a superintendent, then a general superintendent. And eventually I moved up to director of operations for a large mechanical contractor. The progression is whatever you want it to be. And literally, I mean, you can make anywhere from $17 an hour to $50 an hour. You can make over $100,000 a year. And that's in like commercial or just a straight hourly job. A lot of plumbers get into work at a residential service company and they learn how to work commission, meaning you get a percentage of what you sell. So it makes you focus on things more. You look at things better. You test more systems when you're in a house. The opportunity to move up is phenomenal. It depends on how much do you want to learn and what do you want to do.
You talked about kind of getting over that mindset early in your career. What other important characteristics or personality traits do you think are required for someone to be successful in that industry?
I think that people just have to be, if they really want to be successful, that there needs to be a career path. And like I told you a while ago, most of us, when we get into the trades, we just want to get to that license. Once we get to that license, that's what we got in for. And I'm afraid that there's so many people that don't look beyond that. And that's why we tell people to learn your way up. If you get into the trades, you can study this trade. You can study new tools, materials, technology. You can study leadership. You can study management. You can study construction management. There's so many things you can do. The only person that can set limits on you is you, because you can learn to do what you want to do. And one of the things that I talk to people about in the very first module of getting into the trades is putting yourself in a position to be the best. Because think about it. If you want to move up, Ryan, and eventually open your own company one day, do you want to be the best company, or do you just want it to be just a company?
Yeah.
Different people are different. I wanted to have the best plumbing company in the area. And it really starts with being an apprentice, learning how to look ahead of the journeyman you're working with. How do I learn more to be better? And then as a journeyman, you've got to learn communication skills. You've got to learn leadership skills. To move up to be a foreman and a superintendent, you've got to learn construction management. What can I do to motivate these employees? What can I do to make sure jobs get done on time, under budget, and safely? What kind of things can I do and learn to put me in a position to be the person that gets asked to fill those jobs?
So a lot of people in all industries are dissatisfied in their line of work, and that's one of the things we're focused on, is helping people find their right path. What does it's not all good, right? What does a bad day on the job as a plumber look like? What are the warts that you gotta share so people know what they're getting into?
Yeah, and it really depends on what position you're in, because literally, I remember the first time I was standing in a ditch full of raw sewage up to my waist, and I'm bent down, I'm working, and I'm thinking to myself, it can't get any worse than this. So that's a bad day.
Yeah.
But literally, once you become a plumbing company owner and your phones aren't ringing, I have literally laid awake in bed at night wondering, what do I have to do to make the phones ring? And I hate to see people in that position, whether they own a plumbing company, an electrician company, it doesn't matter to me. You've got families depending on you to feed them, to buy them clothes, to put them through college. And the last thing that I want is my guys to have to worry about, look, is the phone ringing today? Are we going to be busy? Are we not busy? What are we doing? So a hard day is different at every level. You can be standing in a sewer-filled ditch, which luckily doesn't happen very often. But you can also be digging with a shovel for a while, lifting a water heater, working out in the hot sun, working out in the cold winter. It depends on what your days are like. But the good thing is, and part of getting the right mindset, the right motivation is, look, all days aren't like that. And you take those days and you learn from them. And if you say, look, I never want to dig a ditch again, you start looking for jobs where you don't have to dig ditches. You start looking at what you can learn to rise yourself to the next level. And it can really be a good thing.
Are there any kind of common misconceptions that those of us not in the trades have about being in the trades?
Everybody thinks a plumber just plays and poop all day long, and he doesn't. Everybody thinks an electrician gets shocked by electricity all day long, and he doesn't. There's misconceptions about everything that we do. What I will tell you is if you learn, if you educate yourself, you can literally put yourself in a great position. The reason that we started the Getting Into the Trades program, I had people over the last 3 years on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and everywhere else reaching out saying, look, I want to get into the trades, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
And you're a plumber, so now I want to be a plumber. And my question to them is always, well, is that the right trade for you? And they're like, I don't know. It's what you do. So the very first module about getting into the trades is which trade is right for you. And I talk about being a glazier, being a concrete person, being a flooring guy, tile, marble, brick, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing. There's so many trades there that a lot of people don't even think about it. Yeah. But then I also talk about the opportunities in each trade. All electricians aren't out on the job, hanging lights. Some of them are doing wire for cabling or for cabling for computers, for IT, for all kinds of different things, diagnostics, systems controls. There's so many different opportunities out there that most people don't even realize. Yep. And my thing and what I started looking at when I was putting this together is how do you teach somebody a little bit about all the trades to help them figure out which one is right for them? Because if I would have got in as an electrician, I probably wouldn't have liked it. I hate getting shocked at all. I don't think it's funny. I've never wanted to do it. So that would have been a big deal for me. So I talk about things like that whenever I'm talking about the different trades to kind of give people an idea of what they may want to do, what fits their personality.
Okay. Well, coming up to the end of my questions here, was there anything I didn't ask you that I should have, something you really wanted to be able to elaborate on?
The thing is, make sure you put yourself in the right position. You want to, literally anybody who gets in the trades wants to learn to grow. So if you need formal training, think about a union. Think about going to work for a company that is involved with organizations like PHCC, ABC, different companies that actually have training programs. If you're one of these people that, look, man, I just want to go to work with a plumber, I want to hang out from him and learn from him, it's a great way to learn if you're with the right plumber. So, if you get with the wrong one, you're going to spend years learning bad habits. Yeah. That's part of what we did in our program is, look, I've got 40 years experience. I'm a master at it. I've done well at it. And if I can convey that information to people to help them, it's a game changer for people getting into the trades. It helps them get to the better jobs faster, make more money, but also continue to learn and hopefully continue to grow.
So where can people find you? Where can they learn more about these programs that you've started? Let's give them the path to get started.
The path to get started is through the Trades Academy. Then just go to www.thetradesacademy.com. Okay. If they're interested in getting into the trades, after com, put /GITT or GITTNOW, get now. If they want to find out just more about me or talk to me or connect with me, go to rogerwakefield.com. I've got a website. They can find out about me, and there are links in there to the Trades Academy, to my LinkedIn, to my Instagram, to my YouTube. But, the trades are such a wonderful opportunity for people, and it's just going to get better over the next 5 or 10 years. I talk about in my YouTube channel all the time that I think over the next 5 years, plumbers will actually be making over $100 an hour on their check. So a plumber that starts today and learns and does well and grows and gets better is going to have amazing opportunities ahead of him.
That's great to hear. Well, thank you very much for your time and your insight. I really appreciate this. I think this is going to really help give people some knowledge that they didn't have before, and hopefully get them on a career path that aligns with their passion. So thank you very much, Roger. I really appreciate it.
Ryan, thank you for the opportunity and good luck with what you're doing. I think you've got a fantastic mission ahead of you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.